Hey there, I'm Apple Credit with Investing Simple. In this video, we're taking an in-depth look at margin on Robinhood and answering the question of how does margin actually work on the Robinhood trading app. This is a question that a lot of newer investors have, so let's dive in and break it down. The first thing we got to talk about here is what are margin accounts? So margin is buying stocks with borrowed money. So you're borrowing money from Robinhood to buy stocks with. This can only be done in a margin account. So there are two types of investing accounts. You got a margin account, you got a cash account. With a cash account, you can only invest your own cash. With a margin account, you can invest your cash plus Robinhood's cash, aka margin. Now, as you would expect, this can be pretty risky because you're investing with borrowed money. So not only do you have to make a return on your investment, you have to make enough return to pay interest on that money that you in fact borrowed. And if your investments go down in value, things could get a little bit rough. That's because the longer you hold your investments, the more interest you are going to owe on that borrowed money. And if your investments fall too far in value, your broker, or Robinhood in this case, could actually issue what is called a margin call. They'll do this at the point where they feel like you're taking on too much risk and they are worried about getting paid back. They're going to say, hey, you either need to sell your stocks and pay us back, or you need to put more money into this investment so that we know that we are going to be getting paid back. This can be quite a shock to newer investors that were not expecting a margin call. So if you're investing in risky stocks on margin, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you either have some cash sitting on the sidelines or you have a point at which you are going to sell and cut your losses. Now, another thing that brokers can actually do in a margin account is sell your stocks without even telling you. So if they feel like your position has gotten too risky, they could issue you a margin call, or they can actually just sell your stocks for you without even asking you for permission. So again, if you're investing in risky stocks on margin, definitely be aware that if you start to see some significant drops, your broker, in this case Robinhood, could just say, nope, you're done, we're selling right now. So now that you've got margin accounts down, let's talk about how to actually invest on margin with Robinhood. So you're going to need a Robinhood Gold subscription. And if you want to learn more about how those actually work, we got a full review of Robinhood Gold right up here that you can check out. This is going to run you $5 per month. And in addition to getting you access to margin trading, it's also going to provide you with Morningstar research reports, level 2 market data, and larger instant deposits into your Robinhood account, which can all be useful features for you if you are looking to buy and sell stocks fairly quickly or do any kind of margin trading or day trading. Now, once you've got a margin account with Robinhood, how do they actually work? Well, like I mentioned before, you've got your cash accounts and you've got your margin accounts. With a cash account, you can only trade with settled funds in your actual account. With a margin account, you can trade with your funds plus some of Robinhood's funds. Now, most Robinhood users are going to be able to access 2x margin in their Robinhood account, which basically means if you've got $2,000 in your Robinhood margin account, they'll match you with another $2,000 in margin that you can use to invest. So you basically have $4,000 worth of buying power in your investment account. Now, this can actually vary from person to person. So to check how much margin you actually have available, there is a section within your Robinhood dashboard that will say margin available and then a number. That'll show you how much additional margin you have to work with. So refer to that to make sure you know how much margin you actually have available in your account. Now, there are actually some requirements to trade on margin on Robinhood. So let's talk about those right now. The first of which is that you need to have at least $2,000 in your Robinhood account. If you don't have at least $2,000, they're not going to allow you to trade on margin, even if you pay the $5 a month for Robinhood Gold. Then in terms of the interest, you're also going to have to keep this in mind. So interest is calculated on a daily basis and charged to you monthly. When that $5 per month Robinhood Gold subscription comes around, they're also going to tie in all of the interest that you owe from the previous month. Now, currently, the interest rate for margin on Robinhood is a flat 2.5%, but this can change at any point at Robinhood's discretion. They can decide when to raise or lower this whenever they want, and you are just going to be subject to those new rates as they change them. So now that you know if you're even eligible for margin, let's talk about some of the risks involved. I could not make a video about margin without including the risks. There are some significant risks that you put yourself at when you do invest on margin. The first of which is that if you make a bad investment, you are not only losing your own money, but you might be losing even more than you bargained for since you are borrowing money and paying interest on that as well. So if you're using margin on risky investments, you're going to want to be very careful and really do some thinking about where your entry and exit points are going to be, when you're going to cut your losses, when you're going to take your gains, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. On top of that, you've always got the risk of a margin call. So Robinhood can at any point say you got to put more money in or you got to sell your position. That is not a great place to be in, and it can really just elevate your stress levels overall because you never know when that's going to happen. So overall, even though it's really easy to get access to margin on Robinhood, you're probably going to want to be a little bit careful with this stuff. While it has the potential to amplify your returns, also has the potential to amplify your losses. Now, if you want to learn more about margin on Robinhood, this kind of only scratches the surface. We've got a full comprehensive article on our website, investingsimple.com. The best way to find that is to head on over to Google and search for how does margin work on Robinhood, then just click on the link for investingsimple.com. We'll see you over there.